I know that Aaron Boone's on the line. He misses me dearly.
Nice.
I think Aaron may have me address the team next time they get into a slump.
Oh, God.
Listen, did I not get Stanton out of the slump?
Yeah, it's all you. Aaron, thank Craig. He got Giancarlo out of the slump. You're welcome.
Well, listen.
Can you hear me? I appreciate that, Craig.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
He's going with it.
Listen,
Right.
when I made fun of him for quitting on the team in Cleveland with the sweatshirt, Aaron told him, and he's been in a hot streak ever since.
Aaron, can you confirm that Giancarlo still will put the sweatshirt on in between at-bats?
You know, it's funny you say that. I noticed on a highlight he was the other day. He had his sweatshirt on with his hood up, going through on the iPad. He was talking with another player about something, and you did pop into my head, and I almost ran down and said, "Take that hoodie off."
See, at least you're thinking.
And Aaron, as soon as I saw the picture,
I think he had 2 home runs in that game. So.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as we saw the picture, it was brought up to Craig. Don't worry, he had to address it.
It was the night where Frazier walked. He came in and walked, and then you pinch ran for him.
It was the Wednesday game. It was the second game of the Astros series.
It was. And my rationale for him wearing the sweatshirt was that when Frazier got up, he assumed to be a double play ball. He wasn't going to get up.
Look at this. He just can't take the L, Aaron.
The Aaron Boone Report is brought to you by Jersey Mike's, the official sub sandwich shop of the New York Yankees, by Winters Brothers Waste Systems. Conveniently rent a dumpster online at Winters, BROS, that's bros.com. Long Island's #1 choice for waste removal, Winters Bros, and by Spectrum Mobile. Get unlimited talk, text, and data. You can save up to 40%. Go to SpectrumMobile.com today. Couple things from yesterday, and then we'll move forward. Evan and I came on right after the game. To be fair, I was not thinking at the time, Evan was, and other people were as well. After 7 innings, why not come back with Garrett in the 8th?
Just felt like that was enough for Cole yesterday. Obviously, having Greeny and Chappie there to finish the game, something we feel really good about. I think yesterday was more of a grind for Garrett than, obviously he pitched great. I don't think it was one of those days where he had his overwhelming stuff, but he pitched really well, and I think it was a little more of a physically demanding outing than otherwise. People focus so much on pitch count all the time. It's not so much about that. It's just kind of workload. So we had talked about, after the 6, like, hey, you got one more, and he's like, yep. And then I felt pretty strongly that after 7, that was enough.
Do you, after the 7th inning, do you ask him, or is it just, no, you're out of the game? Was there ever a discussion about him coming out for the 8th?
I would say there was not a discussion. Now, with Garrett, more so than any of our stars, he's someone that I do talk with a lot when I'm because there are games with him where I am on the fence. Obviously, he's a guy that we're comfortable continuing to turn over the lineup when he's on his game. He's the guy we want out there. So typically, I'll start communicating with him in the middle innings. Sometimes we have some spirited conversations about where we're at, what we're thinking, and so he is somebody that I do communicate more so than any other pitcher, and frankly, it's pretty easy to communicate with them and get real feedback.
And you're right, by the way. Sometimes we look at pitch count and say 97, that's easy. There were 2 other things I was thinking about, and tell me if all this factors in. Mm-hmm. He had an extra day's of rest, and he didn't throw that many pitches against the Tigers because you guys destroyed them, so you were able to get him out relatively early. Yep. Does those 2 things ever lead to, I could push him a little bit further because of that?
Yes, like on the surface, yes. But again, I would say don't necessarily always focus on the pitch count. Yes, the pitch count is a nice gauge, but we do look at things, especially with Garrett, as, hey, we've pushed a couple times. This might be an outing where we don't push it, or we do throttle it back, or when we have, like, hey, this is an outing where we really can push it. And obviously, what's the bullpen situation? Those things can factor in as well.
Look, the bottom line is if Chad Green did what he's done virtually every other outing, it's not an issue. We're not talking about it because he gets the side out. You go to Chapman in the 9th, he gets the side out, and you get the sweep. It became an issue only because Green didn't do what he normally does. Now, for you being there, you've had the one thing where you got to the 85%, so there's more normalcy in the dugout, obviously not having to wear a mask and all that stuff. From your perspective, what was it like hearing 10,000 people as loud as they were? Because for my money, it showed you how great New York fans are.
Yeah, it honestly, I was taken aback by it. Like, whoa! Like, it caught me off. I knew it was going to be intense. I knew it was going to be raucous. But it's just been, it's been so long since we've had, obviously fans, but then that level, and it really did. That first night walking out there, 15 minutes before the game, it felt like a playoff game. I mean, that's what it kind of felt like, and it was the intensity. The passion was there, really nonstop all 3 games, and it was fun to kind of be in that intense environment where you have those games over the course of a season. As much as we focus on the day by day and turn the page, there are games in the regular season that take on a little bit more meaning, take on a bigger feeling. This series was certainly one of those.
The fans hate the Astros. It's obvious. They think they cheated you guys. I know you weren't there managing that year, but they feel like they cheated them out of a pennant in 2017. Was there a conversation with some of the guys in the room? Because who knows? Maybe they would get emotion and say, hey, this is our chance. We saw what the Dodgers did, Joe Kelly. We've seen what the A's have done. That, you know what? We're going to take justice in our own hands. Was there ever a discussion about maybe we shouldn't do it or maybe we should do it? Was it ever talked about with some of the guys?
I think the discussion, not only before that series, but kind of leading up, as it was a major topic, obviously, in spring training of 2020 when we first came back. It was a major topic, obviously. So we've talked about this in the past, and I think one thing we've tried to focus on is, and obviously we have different rivalries during the year with Boston, with Tampa, and things like that, where things get a little bit heated sometimes. But we do try and get out ahead of things and really try and keep the focus on us. There's no doubt the environment, the atmosphere, the game has a way of getting you a little more, even maybe a little more sharply ready and a little more up to play almost. But we really talk about, let's worry about us and let's not get caught up in all the extra stuff.
I want to correct something I said, because I said 2017. Me personally, as a baseball fan, I think there was something shady in 2019, and you certainly were there. Do you feel comfortable about 2019's ALCS, or is there a part of you that still wonders, was that on the up and up?
I've certainly moved on from it. You always, I've wondered. I've looked at all the stuff, and you never know. But I think it's been important for me and for our team to really turn the page and move forward and know that certain things have been handled, and as a result, a lot of things, have been addressed and cleaned up in our sport that were probably going down a bad path.
Can you imagine, as raucous as it was, though, if Chapman drills? I mean, I may have even texted you. You don't respond to my text, but I think I may have said, drill Altuve, let's go. That place would have been crazy if that had happened. I would have loved it. Now, one of the great plays that no one is ever going to talk about because you lost the game, right, and I think shows you really where this guy is at compared to 3 weeks ago when we talked to you about, lollygagging a ball to first base. What Glaber did yesterday with the shift on and being heads up, and obviously, look, running the third, coming home and getting you within a run is the great play that won't be talked about. But for you, I would think it signifies he's now got his head exactly where you want him to be, yeah?
Yeah, I really like where Glaber's at. Obviously a lot of the talk around Glaber right now is he doesn't have a home run. But if you're watching our games all the time, the at-bat quality's been there. He's come up in some big spots and delivered. I feel like really since the first homestand, I feel like his defense has been excellent. And yesterday was just a special instinctual play. Obviously as an infielder and a guy that, shifts and knows some of the positions you can get yourself in. One of the things we work on so much in the shift is, where you're going to be deficient if a ball takes you to a certain place, and making sure that everyone's kind of accountable and having to cover up certain things. So Glaber is acutely aware of that stuff, and obviously, showed great instincts in understanding that situation. But what's cool about it, and watching the replay, obviously he was right on top of it and going to third base. But then as he's going to third, processing, okay, the catcher coming down the line, okay, you see him kind of glance and kind of almost subconsciously, all right, where's the pitcher? Is there any movement towards home plate? It was just a really special on-the-fly instinctual play, and really exciting to see him and kind of his entire game right now, the way he's playing.
Yep. It was a very exciting play. I think as a baseball fan, it was just awesome to see because it was so rare.
But plus, the guy's batting over 300 since that day when you had to have a talk with him. I know he doesn't have the home run, but he's hitting the ball.
I thought you were going to say he's over 300 since you did something.
Yeah, he'll take credit for that. Don't worry.
I only take credit for things that I earn.
Yeah, Giancarlo, right.
Giancarlo Stanton, ever since the day in Cleveland. I don't know what you said to him, but clearly that had an impact.
He is, and tell me if you agree with this, because obviously he performed well in the playoffs last year. We shouldn't just dismiss that. And I thought his first year here was good. The guy went out and played every game. Is this the hottest you've seen of Giancarlo? Is this like the first Miami Giancarlo we've seen? What do you think about this run he's on right now?
Man, the playoffs were special because I think what gets lost maybe a little bit in the playoffs is the pitching staffs he was doing it against. Like Cleveland's staff and then obviously Tampa's staff last year. Like, hits and hard hits and homers are not easy to come by against them, and he was just completely locked in. But I actually felt like last year, even during the regular season, it just got interrupted. He got off to a great start opening night, take Scherzer deep, and he's playing well. Similar in 19, he just missed so much time. So in my eyes, in my view, this has been boiling. Like, this has been, I'm not surprised by it. But no question, I think this stretch he's been in for now a couple of weeks, it has been, we just all look up at the board waiting for, all right, what was that exit value?
Right.
Like there's two a game that are 117, it's unbelievable.
Is he, and we have a few questions about Andújar, who's back, he's in the lineup today, but kind of related to that, is Giancarlo an option to play left field, to play right field, to be in the outfield occasionally? Is that on the table?
It's something that I'm certainly talking about. I feel like physically he's in a really good place. He's moving well. He does all his work. The only, the one thing that's a little bit of a struggle with it is, getting him built up out there. Like, to go start him and play him 9 innings, might be a little bit of a challenge. So, if we got in a pinch, and yesterday we were almost in a pinch, with when we had
you only had Sanchez left, right? Yep.
Gio come out of the game, and then Hicks was cramping up, and he might have had to come out. So we were potentially up against it a little bit, and would have had to get a little bit creative. But I would feel very comfortable with him going out there in a pinch, like for a few innings. The question is he ready to go out there 9 innings, and that? But physically, he's definitely capable of going out there and does most of his work, his conditioning work is taking fly balls.
This is going to be a really stupid question for you. Is it really that hard physically to ask a guy who's in great shape to play 9 innings of outfield?
No, but when you're doing it back to back, you put yourself in a vulnerable position, especially a guy that's had, chain leg reactions and things like that. When there's usually a build up to that puts you in a better position to kind of safely do it. So no, is it a big deal? Would he,
because he's clearly in great shape. The guy must work out in the gym 3 hours a day.
Yep, but playing a sport and playing, that's what Luke Voigt's doing right now. It's like, one of the biggest things that is the build up of the going out there for 9 innings, sitting down, going back out in the field, moving around, torquing it's all a different level and a kind of unique level of conditioning that you got to kind of get through.
Why today is Andújar at first base and DJ LeMahieu at third base?
Just feel like because DJ's a really good defender at third. With today's alignment, I have Wade at second, Glaber and DJ gives us a really good infield balance there. Miggy worked really, we had him work extensively last week, about 5 or 6 days in a row, where he was doing a lot of first base work, a lot of good first base work. So honestly, it was something I toiled with overnight, and actually this morning, talked to Mendy, and we kind of sat down and kind of, because I really could have gone either way with it, and we decided on let's go with Miggy at first and DJ at third.
Does it mean that, because Miguel Andújar is here, it sounds like the Gio Urshela injury is minor, which is great news. You've got Luke Voigt coming back. Will Miguel Andújar get a chance to play a lot, and where are the at-bats coming from? Will he play a lot of left field? Where do you kind of see Miguel fitting in right now?
We'll see. I mean, it's kind of fluid. It's kind of day to day right now. He certainly has some position flexibility now. I feel really good about the way he really, since the first time he started playing regularly in the outfield, I feel like it's a natural position for him. I feel like he moves well in left field. So he does give some position flexibility now with the ability to play left, third, and first. And then we'll just see. We'll see, how this weekend unfolds, where Gio's at, kind of in his timeline. I don't think Odor's going to be very long, so that kind of factors in. And then obviously Luke should be back at some point, earlier, middle next week.
When you saw the Odor play at the plate, were you thinking major problem in the moment when he hyperextended that knee?
Yeah, I saw it pretty well. I'm especially as someone who's been through a lot of knee stuff.
Sure.
It got my attention right away, and the way you saw how I ran right out onto the field.
Yep.
Because I saw it pretty well. I saw it, the hyperextension. I was like, oh no. And then to get in game, I knew they, did the physical testing of checking his ACL and the stability of the knee. And I knew I had heard that went well right away. And then obviously he was going for the MRI, and to get good news on that was a little bit of a relief, because it definitely got my attention right away.
We're talking to Aaron Boone. It feels like, and this is not talked about that much, but Aroldis Chapman is dominating like we've never seen before. I mean, he's like a cheat code out there right now. What are you seeing with Aroldis and the way he's throwing the baseball? Because this is incredible.
Yeah, I think it goes back to last year, actually. And I think what gets lost a little bit in last year was because, he gave up the home run, obviously, to Tampa in the playoffs, shortened season. He started the year on COVID. I think what gets lost is how well he was throwing the ball actually last year, and how good he was at how much better his command was and his strike throwing was. And I think it goes back to some little minor tweaks that he made in spring training last year. I think Matt's worked really well with him as far as getting his delivery really consistent and low maintenance, and that's lent itself to better strike throwing, better mechanics, so his stuff is coming out more consistently. So instead of fluctuating, at times with velocity or with command, because he's so sound right now in his delivery, he's got command of his fastball. He's throwing it where he wants. He can strike the slider. It's a real good pitch that he has a feel for. And really, since going back to when he first broke out the split kind of late last year and then carried it into spring training, it's like a pitch that he's got great feel for, and obviously the results have been there. I mean, it's been a nasty third pitch, and I think something that's going to be a longevity pitch for him. And certainly since I've been here, this is as good as I've seen him, and I don't know that I've seen a closer in a better place than he's throwing the ball right now.
Talking to Aaron Boone for another minute or two here, as we do every week. Of course, Nationals in town tonight. If you're on your way to Yankee Stadium, enjoy it, and appreciate you listening to Carton and Roberts here for a few minutes. Everyone talks about Jacob deGrom and whether or not he gets frustrated, whether it's a lack of run support or whether it's his one-loss record over the course of a career. And I thought, there was Paul O'Neill during the broadcast yesterday made a point that the Yankees this year are 4-3 in Garrett Cole starts. Mm-hmm. And I wonder, is Garrett frustrated by that at all? Or is he similar to deGrom and, look, I'm going to go out there every 5 days, do my thing. My ERA is under 2. If we win, great, we want to win. But I'm not going to get frustrated overall by the team's record in games I start.
Yeah, no, No, I don't think he's frustrated. I think, he's frustrated like we all are when we lose a game.
Sure.
after losing opening day 24 hours ago, we were 4-1 in this last 5. So, Garrett's obviously great at what he does, but he is, he's been such a good pro and a good Yankee and like a great teammate, and like he's so invested, and one of the things I love about Garrett is he's so hooked up on even the days he's not pitching. You watch our games, half the time he'll be sitting behind me asking me questions or telling me what to do.
Yeah, he talks the whole game. You do notice that he's nonstop, like, hey, stop talking so much.
Yeah. So, but I love it, and he's just, he's the complete package of this massive talent, ace pitcher, but all the other intangible things. Like, he's a great teammate. Really, all he cares about is winning, and he's going to do whatever he can to help in any way he can to, and sometimes it's challenging people, sometimes it's calling people out. He's been a lot of fun to be around.
Do you have a favorite chant that the Yankee fans chanted at the Astros, or a
I
favorite
can go through them
sign?
if you want. We can go through them.
Yeah, we can go through all of them if you
Okay,
like.
you've got the F out Tuve. Then you had F your birthday.
That wasn't bad.
That was a
I like at Kyle Tucker, they chanted, "We don't know you."
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine if 45,000 people were there?
Oh.
As good as it was with 10,
I can't.
it would have been a playoff game. It was awesome. It was the fans really, deserve a tip of the cap for these last 3 games. They were great, no doubt.
Yeah, they really were.
Hey, you know what I wonder? I saw the story that Willie Mays just turned 90 years old. Okay, and I was thinking about, I don't know why I thought about you when I was thinking about Willie Mays, but you literally grew up in a Major League Baseball clubhouse.
Yeah.
Was there ever a guy that you came across that wowed you, that you were intimidated is not the word I'm looking for, but when I use it, where you were in awe of or intimidated by, considering how comfortable you were your entire life being around ball players?
Oh, man. No, I can, I remember meeting different people at different times. I remember meeting George Foster, as a visiting Reds player in the bowels of Veterans Stadium. I loved him as like a 4-year-old. Like, I loved him. I remember my mom walking me down to their clubhouse, and I met him. So that was. But the guys that my dad played with, and he played with a ton of great players and Hall of Famers in Philly and California and in Kansas City. Reggie Jackson, when my dad played with him in California, he and I became really close. He kind of took me under his wing and treated me so well. Rod Carew was somebody that we were very close with and lived close by. And when I was in middle school, I used to go over and wash his cars, and his daughters were my age, so we hung out and stuff. So it was just Cal Ripken. I met at the 1983 All-Star game that my dad was in Comiskey Park, and I think that was Cal's first All-Star game when they won the World Series that year. And I remember how cool he was to me, because my dad was number 8, Cal was number 8, so he kept, hey, what's up, number 8? So when I was out there shagging and stuff, that was pretty cool. So, I have amazing stories. I don't know if there was anyone that I was necessarily intimidated by, unless somebody was kind of mean.
Yeah,
to
that's
me
why I
if
said
was
it's probably the wrong word, but like, there's still guys, even though, like Rod Carew to you might be like Uncle Rod, just like a friend. But there are guys that you might have been.
There was one guy. He's going to remain nameless, and if I named him, you guys probably wouldn't even. Evan might, but you guys wouldn't even know who he was. But my brother and I, Brett's 4 years older than me. When we were in Anaheim, when we would shag out in the outfield, he used to kind of like big league us and like shoo us away, like we were messing with his routine or whatever.
Right.
And he wasn't that great of a player either. He's
usually how it works.
A jerk. It was like. And Brett and I kind of talk about him to this day. Like, how about that tool?
Oh, come on. You got to give us initials or something.
No.
Yeah, because like, it is weird, like, based on, how you grow up. Well, some guys are larger than life to other people, but I think like Pat Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes grew up shagging flies, at Shea Stadium.
Yeah.
And there's someone put a picture out today of a young Patrick Mahomes, I think, with Johan Santana when he was here, like shagging flies and stuff. He was obviously a little bit older at that point. But, for years, you look at it differently. That's why I wonder if there was a guy that was, like, larger than life for you, growing up or at any point of your lifetime, even before you became a pro.
Yeah, they're my dad's teammates. Like, I don't know. Bo Jackson my dad played with him in Kansas City, and Bo Jackson was really tight with my younger brother, who was like when my dad played in Kansas City, we still lived in Southern California, and that's when I was in high school. It was the end of his career. So my little brother was in Kansas City all the time, so he became pretty tight with Bo, who was at that time obviously,
Sure.
Bo knew everything.
Yeah, megastar.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
Bo's got. I've been in a lot of locker rooms and seen a lot of naked men, as you have. Bo Jackson still has a body I've never seen any other professional athlete have.
Adonis?
No, not. It was like
normal.
I don't know. Maybe if Aaron's ever seen him just topless, he would like when you hear the term like barrel chested, but not defined like he's going to go out and win like a Mr. Olympia competition, but. There was a thickness to that dude's body in his heyday that I've never seen on another athlete my entire life.
We throw around men among boys. I mean, he was the ultimate. He was just way better and more physical than you.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at the guy accomplished.
By the
It's
way,
incredible.
that's a good guy to be friends with too.
Yeah, seriously. Absolutely.
Archery game is tight too.
Is that right? I didn't know
Never
that.
knew that. He really can do everything.
He
There
can
you
do
go.
everything. Yeah.
All right, well, listen, Aaron, good having you on. Good luck tonight and for
Thanks,
this
guys.
series against the Nationals. And if it once in a while, just to make me feel good about myself, feel free to return a text.
I returned a couple.
It's been a while.
I mean, you texted Aaron and said drill Altuve.
Yeah, he didn't respond
What you
to
think he
that.
was going to say?
he didn't respond to that one.
Yes, you got it. That would have been
Yeah.
the great
He
response.
didn't-
I'll talk to you guys next week. All right.
All right.
Fair
How about
enough.
that?
See you
All
later.
All right,
See you
there
guys.
you go. All right, talk to you. There's Aaron Boone. The Aaron Boone Report's made possible by Jersey Mike's, the official sub sandwich shop of the New York Yankees.